supporting the middle class. This is the Jeff Santos Show.
"33 minutes past the hour. It is the Jeff Santos Show that you are tuned into, coming to you live from the South Coast here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We'll be talking with our good friend, the Renaissance man of the Jeff Santos Show, Mark Taylor-Canfield, the activist, the musician, and, of course, Democracy Watch News executive director. I just tell you, Charlie is a hoot, and he is like our good friend that preceded him, John Bussinger. He does not take a day off. He is passionate about his love of hockey and his love of documentary films, particularly going into all of them. And again, folks, it is a real pleasure to have folks like Charlie and others on. You can go to the Tinley 5. That's the number 5. .com to look into that latest documentary that he is working on, Who Killed These Women, ? Charlie Min, good man, and we'll be talking to him as the Bruins season goes along. Again, he's a very good friend of our good friend Kevin Paul DuPont, who joins us pretty much monthly here to give us a status on the NHL and the Bruins and his views on the incumbent president too, which Kevin likes to do on the program, and hopefully we'll get him before the holidays begin. I also want to, talk a little bit about what Governor O'Malley was talking about, Commissioner O'Malley, former commissioner of Social Security. And to me, that is, we have to watch out for these corrupt officials in the Trump administration who are trying to direct, should be independent companies who give the best rates to the Office of Social Security. Instead, they go to their buddies, and this is what it is. This is the corruption that people don't hear about, don't talk about. Of course, you're not going to get it from Fox News, the Goebbels of the Trump administration. So there you go. And that's the unfortunate part of where we are today. We need to have a better media, just in general. But I think it is really critical to move the agenda forward that Bernie Sanders and AOC have brought to the table over the last 8-10 years on healthcare, on education, on minimum wage. I mean, these are the things that we need to do. All right. Well, no further introduction needed. It's Mark Taylor-Canfield. He is the Renaissance man of the Jeff Santos Show. And we say hello to MTC on this Friday. New guitar, ready to rock and roll. Mark Taylor-Canfield. Hello.
Mr. Boss Man, won't you hear us when we call? Mr. Boss Man, won't you hear us when we call?
Oh, yeah.
Say you ain't so big now. You just talk, that's all.
Yeah, baby. It's Mark Taylor-Canfield right here on the Jeff Santos Show. How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I've been watching your show today, and you definitely have some guests. I don't know if I can use the word, but let's just say the phrase is kick, and then there's another word starts with A with 2 other letters. But you have some great guests today.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, man.
You know how they used to say around here,
we
like
love
soccer
to be
is a
the
kick
diversity.
in the grass.
Yes, kick in the grass.
Well,
every day.
That's what we need. Is we need people on fire at this time. I mean, you're right. This is an authoritarian fascist government, and if we don't stand up now, folks, it's over. I mean, come on. This is the time. There is no time for hesitation. These are not the best of times, and so we need to stand up. And I'm waiting for our members of Congress to do that. I did tell you off the air though that I went to I was registered for the conference in New York City, the conference, the Reuters Next conference, where they try to predict all these trends. They have like 700 leaders from around the world. We got to hear from the UN Secretary General. Got to hear from Perlina, Igbagwe, who is the head of the chair of NBC Universal. And by the way, I wanted to tell you what she said. Here's one takeaway. She said AI, is not going to take over human storytelling in their programming. So thank God for that. But yeah, the breaking news section of Reuters, which they use to predict future trends, they predicted that the House is going to flip before the November election because of all these special elections. I was really surprised to hear that.
No, I was.
But that's what they're
I was
predicting.
telling our audience about that after you gave me that news. That is pretty amazing. And our good friend John Bussinger, who was on, was talking about the fact that there's a special election in Houston, Texas. I think that's the district that the late congresswoman who passed away, Sheila Jackson Lee, I believe it was, or maybe it was the mayor of Houston. I'm not sure, former mayor of Houston, but one or the other. And so there you go. That was, that's an election the Democrats should win. That's a Democratic district. So we all know it's the largest African-American county, Harris County in the country. So, that's a big part of the district. So I'm hoping that that's a big W. And wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to have, in the middle of the calendar year of 2026, hey, it's Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. Hello. That would be fantastic. So I don't know if there's going to be kind of a compromise person, if the Republicans have just as many votes as the Democrats do or whatever, or if it's a one vote difference. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to that. And it couldn't come as soon as possible because we need to end this Trump stuff. The one thing that I wanted to, well, that's exactly what I've been saying, Mark. We cannot take the foot off the pedal. The House is one thing, it's the Senate, and we can win in Iowa. Barack Obama, African-American with the name Barack in Iowa, middle America, it's not far from Peoria, Illinois. Can you sell it in Peoria? Well, they sold it in Iowa twice. African-American president ran and won twice. They can do it again. And they can do it in Maine, where that's a blue state. We can do it with Sherrod Brown, who was elected many, many times in Ohio. He's not running against any stud by any stretch of the imagination on the Republican side. They are going down 36% approval rating of the party, even lower than that. And of course, you can win with Cooper in North Carolina. So there you go. There's 4. And John Bussinger brought up, and so did John Nichols, you could probably win Alaska too, because the congresswoman, the Native American there, potentially could win that seat. So, and then Murkowski will finger in the air. Murkowski will probably come over to the Democrats because they're going to be in the majority. So you'll have a little bit of a comfort zone there. So yeah, it's all there, and then we can do the real work of impeaching this individual, this fascist.
Yes.
So we got to go from there.
We can do what retired 4-star General Barry McCaffrey told our local reporter here, Joyce Turner, and that is remove the guy from office as soon as possible because he's lawless.
I love that.
And this is the most
I love that. I'm going to actually do one better for you, Mark. I'm going to play the audio that you sent us and ask my great producer, Kevin, to play that sound from the former drug czar, Mr. Barry McCaffrey, under the Clinton administration. Actually, he had a role in the military, of course, before that. Let's go to Barry McCaffrey.
Unusual is it to see the Pentagon threaten to recall a sitting U.S. senator to active duty for potential court-martial?
I think we're starting to look like the government of North Korea. I've never encountered anything like this in my entire life. On the face of it, it's absurd to suggest there's a criminal element to calling for disobeying illegal orders. There's a separation of powers. These are 6 serving members of Congress. There's command influence. I was a general court-martial authority 2-star general division commander. Had I announced in public that the accused should be hanged, they would have pulled me out of office the next day. So this behavior is absurd and lawless.
Yeah.
There you go. General McCaffrey.
Yeah,
I hope you're enjoying that Mountain Dew, by the way.
Oh my
but
God. It's not recommended for kids. I wouldn't do that at home. But, if you've been up all night and, rocking with your friends
there you
at the
go.
local club,
I knew there was a reason
then
for it.
sometimes it's helpful.
Yeah.
Green tea
Well, you
is much
play.
better. I highly recommend green tea
Right.
with a little bit of lemon.
Me too.
But
I
today
drink
I
it all
went
the
for the
time.
Mountain Dew. It's my secret weapon,
But
Mountain Dew.
yeah, well, you're up to, till 2:00, 3:00 in the morning playing these gigs, man. So, Thursday night's a big night for the independent artists.
That's early.
Yeah, I know. Well,
We're
he's
talking
getting
more
home
like
at 4:00.
4 or 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I come home when the
Hey,
sun comes up. It's fine. Oh, by the way,
like I say,
you
he's a
mentioned
Renaissance
something about
man, folks.
Yeah, you mentioned
Yeah,
something about acting. Actually, I
actor.
did play.
You want to get
I
that
did
part. It's
actually.
part of the Renaissance resume.
I did play a Greek priest in a history channel series called Unnatural Histories, and also, and I've also been an extra in a bunch of films with all sorts of famous people. But I also was in a play here that won the best of the Seattle Fringe Festival, so we got to do a run at the Seattle Repertory Theater, which is our best theater in town. So. Yeah, I'm up to doing more acting. If there's anybody out there who has a great project, I'd like to do some more film.
I'll take it. I did a little bit in college, by the way, a little acting, and so I'm up for it. If you want to, I'll fly out there if they pay the plane fare, anyways. But hey,
Yeah.
How many times did you have to say the word "Efgaristo," which is, of course, in Greek is thank you?
Well, it it was mostly, I didn't say that, but I can tell you this, that I probably should have had, the Actors Guild there, because they kept lighting these torches that were like petroleum based or something. And it was nasty. Some of the things that actors have to go through, folks, you have no idea. The woman that they kept popping bromide tablets in her mouth so she would froth at the mouth. And then she was the Pythoness, who was at the Temple of Delphi, who was, giving prophecies or whatever, predicting the future. She told me, I said, that must be really hard. We did 5 takes of you rolling around on the floor doing convulsions. She said, Mark, I would do anything to be a famous actress. So, people in the music industry and in the theater and film industry are very dedicated people. You have no idea how many hours they put in off camera to give you that 20 seconds, whatever.
I mean,
it's amazing.
I've been on the set of a lot of movies, not that I've been in them, but I was actually supposed to be an extra in the Field of Dreams, the great baseball movie, with Kevin Costner and stuff. I was there, but I mean, I ended up getting, I was going to be part of a crowd shot, and I never ended up getting there. I looked for myself many times. It's when actually Kevin Costner and the late James Earl Jones went to the Fenway Park, and they would do the wave and stuff, and it would be all these players. None of them were actually the Red Sox players at that time in 88, 89. But that was there. But I never made it. They cut it off, I guess, just enough they couldn't see us. But they gave me a free meal and a bunch of other things. But but the point is, though, is that there were hundreds of people. And these are folks that are sometimes just brought in, in this case from the Boston area, or they're shipped in from New York, and they're not making a ton of money, and they're waiting around. They always hear about these actors in these, and there's a lot of bid actors too. They're not, they don't make the money that Costner and Jones did and some of the other big names. And, so you had all of this, and there were so many people, and of course, mostly union work on top of this. So, they're trying to make little bits here and there. It's a major production. And so kudos. And thank you for bringing that up, because, again, people think movies, these billionaire actors and so on and so forth. A lot of people don't make a lot of money, and a lot of people do it as a part-time thing.
Yeah, I was in Life or Something Like It. It stars Angelina Jolie, and I was sitting right behind her at the ballpark here, because it's about the Mariners. Basically, it's about her boyfriend, who is a baseball player, and so I got to sit behind her. Most of the time, I got to talk to her stand-in, because she was back in the trailer getting ready or whatever. But I did get to high five the Moose during that film. I was also in The Battle in Seattle with Woody Harrelson,
the mascot of the Mariners.
I was in the movie about the WTO demonstrations here, Battle in Seattle, with Woody Harrelson and
right.
Theron and some really great actors and that. And yeah, it's a great experience. I was on the set with Steven Soderbergh, who did a film here called Kimmy a couple years ago with Lenny Kravitz's daughter. She was the lead in that, and I got to see how he did it.
She's doing pretty well on her own too, right? Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
Well,
she's doing pretty well on her own.
Yes. Yeah, and she's a good actress. I mean, she played a really great part in that film. I would suggest people see it, but I got to see Steven Soderbergh. He directed the film. He was also the camera person, and I think wrote part of the script or something. So it's basically all him, and that was really cool to see. A great director like him just go all out with a project that he really believed in. So it's a lot of fun. I have to admit, being around actors and being on the set is really kind of exciting. We all grew up watching these movies, so it's great to see behind the scenes and how all that works, and working with the costuming crew and the lighting crew and all that. It's really interesting. In some ways it's very similar to theater, and then a little bit like rock and roll, depending on what kind of band.
Yeah, I mean, the acting
band.
and musician world, I mean, they go back and forth. I mean, how many hip hop guys and, to a lesser extent, rock and roll guys have gone into acting. There's a whole slew, and, it was always told, I think that someone told me this, that every athlete wants to be an actor and every actor wants to be an athlete. Oh, they wish they could
Dylan
be,
Bob Dylan is in a Western, right? Let's see. Yeah, there have been a lot of musicians.
Elvis made a whole bunch of movies. Elvis.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I was thinking there's somebody else I was thinking of too. Besides, I'm trying to think of Bob Dylan and who else. Yeah, there have been other actors that they show. Oh, Mick Jagger. He's been in a couple movies,
Oh, yeah.
So
right.
it's interesting to see people that you see on stage acting. Willie Nelson has been in a bunch of movies. He's a really good actor. So yeah, it's really great to see them take on these other roles and kind of take on other personalities too when they do character acting. It's nice to see them do something other than just their stage presence too. Willie Nelson is good at that. Willie Nelson can play a nasty villain, which kind of surprises me because on stage he's such a nice guy, But
I think in real life too. I've never met him, but everything that you hear about him, he goes back to the days of Jimmy Carter. There's a whole bunch of books about Carter and Nelson. I don't know if they were sharing a peace pipe, but they had a lot of one-on-one conversations, according to the Carter historians. Talking with Mark Taylor-Canfield here on the Jeff Santos Show.
A lot of people in Seattle like Willie, not because of his music so much, but because he was very pro-cannabis, pro-marijuana.
That's right.
For a long time.
Right.
And so we legalized it here. So people have a lot of respect for him just for stepping out, especially in the country music field where, there's a lot of very conservative Republican type people. That was a really brave thing for him to do. And, so he's kind of a rebel, and, we appreciate that here. So good for him.
Yeah, you guys like the rebels. It fits in really well. No, but I think in all honesty, it's so great to to see these folks, to be able to go around to different forms of art, as you've talked about, because you're involved with artists. And I think that is a really true big part. We just talked to Charlie Min, who I've known I met him 40 years ago. I've been kept in contact maybe in the last 4 years. We've done a lot. He's a massive Bruins fan, as you heard. But he's an independent filmmaker, and he talked about Oliver Stone. They wouldn't give him the big budgets to make these massive films until Platoon came out, which was basically a story about himself in Vietnam, which, thank God, opened up the doors to JFK and Nixon and Wall Street and a whole slew of other ones that should have won Academy Awards, frankly.
By the way, Jeff, the band that I'm working on is called the Rebel Saints, just so you know. And also that movie Battle in Seattle. Yeah. Battle in Seattle was actually the studios wouldn't do that movie. So Woody Harrelson and Charlize Theron and other those folks had to
people are calling
had to do it on their own, and apparently who's calling me now? So but apparently
they know you're on the radio.
Yeah, apparently Stuart Townsend, who was also in Queen of the Damned with Tom Cruise, he took the money that he made from that film and produced battle in Seattle. So it's a labor of love by the actors that were involved. They couldn't get big studio backing to do that film, but they came here to Seattle and they consulted with a lot of those people here, like myself, who were there during the WTO demonstrations, so that they could create some realistic scenes. And they even invited a bunch of us to bring, our protest signs and whatever we had left from, the WTO. I actually have a whole collection of WTO paraphernalia from those protests that I'm donating to the labor history program at the University of Washington, because it's enough for a whole little section in their archive there. So hopefully that will be saved for
posterity. You brought that up, actually, because, one of the things we're going to do here a lot on the Jeff Santos Show, God willing and all that, that we're going to hopefully have an opportunity to have a couple of days a week, a labor segment. We'd already do the Teacher Tuesday segment, our friends at Badass Teachers, and of course, the fantastic head of the New Jersey Education Association, Government Relations, and Deborah Kornavaca. But one of the things that I think is going to be important is understanding that labor is in so many different aspects. You talked about the world of acting. We've had on, folks from SAG-AFTRA on the show. You got obviously steel workers, and you got pipe fitters, and you got, all the hard hat folks, and of course nurses and teachers, and government association, NAGE, our friends, the National Association of Government Employees, SEIU, part of it too. And, so it's so important that, I'm glad you mentioned it, because there really needs to be, when we first started a bunch of years ago, we used to have the Labor Day, and we had all these different unions on. Pretty much every day should be Labor Day, because look at the impact that it has had in this country. See what happens in Europe. I mean, labor says we're going to go on strike. The whole city of Paris shuts down. That's the impact of it across the world in democracies, which we're unfortunately,
I was in Paris.
Suffering.
I was in Paris when the whole city shut down. I mean, when people go on strike in Paris, the telephone system, the trains, the airports, everything are state run, federalized. So when the federal workers go on strike, everything closes down. Everything shuts down. People in France are very, at least in that, when I was there, are very kind of close to their revolutionary heritage. I mean, they're ready to fight when it comes to, fighting austerity measures or right-wing stuff that they have a problem with there too in Europe, just like we do sometimes. But, but I do want to give credits to General McCaffrey for making that statement, and to Joyce Turner for doing the interview that you played, because she asked some amazing questions, and apparently she's going to continue doing a series of interviews with him, because she said at the end of that one that I have more to ask you about the Trump administration. So it's really great to hear somebody telling it like it is, like your guests do on your show, Alan Grayson. I mean, that was amazing to hear him just speak so honestly and so straightforward about what's going on. I think a lot of politicians and even a lot of people in the entertainment industry tend to, walk on eggshells and try to be very careful about what they say.
Oh, got to be so cautious. So cautious.
No, I mean, we have to tell it. We have to tell the truth. It's very, very.
We're going to run ads against us, 30-second commercials, the big bad guys. And what are we going to do?
We may not always be able to bring about the justice we seek, but we can always tell the truth.
Thank you. Well said, my friend. In all seriousness, yeah. No. MTC, he right there. That's the guy who said it. We're talking with Mark Taylor-Canfield in the remaining moments of the Jeff Santos Show. Remember, folks, you can see this interview and all of them by going to @the Jeff Santos Show and check it out. Our website, the great A team doing all the work, Rocky behind the scenes and so forth, and a lot of help from Robin today, and of course the great Freddie and Kevin down there in Florida. In the heat of Florida. Meanwhile, we're over here freezing. I don't know what it is. What's the weather in Seattle today, Mr. Weatherman Canfield?
It's gray. I mean, just like always in the fall and winter. No, right around. Actually, we will get a few days. I go kayaking a couple times in the last month. So, I mean, what's making me laugh is that I have all these friends who are saying, Mark, I can't go kayaking with you anymore because it's too cold now that it's fall and in winter in Seattle. And I say, so what are you doing? They say, oh, we're going up to Alpental to go skiing. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Can't you just put on some warm clothes and go kayaking with me?
What do they do?
I mean, I wear my ski pants and my gloves, and I sometimes a wetsuit, and it keeps me really warm out there. I mean, Seattle very seldom ever gets below the mid 40s or whatever, so that's about as cold as
you don't get to the snow level. And when you do, don't go into Pioneer Square on those old tracks. I remember driving on that. Here. I mean, my God, if you had snow, there would be tires. Massive piles up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody has snow tires, so nobody drives. Everything closes. It's like France when they have a strike. There's nothing. The schools are closed. The government offices are closed. Nobody goes to work. It's just a big party. People go and play in the snow, and that's about it. Because usually it only lasts for a couple of days here before it rains again.
I know.
We
get
Seattle.
the snow for a long time. Hey, I got to run, my friend. Always great. Mark Taylor-Canfield. Catch him on YouTube. He's always here every Friday at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. All the best, my man. Thank you. And we look forward to next week. Thank you, man. I love you too. And thank you for saying that. All right. I want to thank great team, Mr. Mark Taylor-Canfield, and all the guests we've had today, Mr. Grayson, our friends Charlie Min, and of course John Bussinger, and Martin O'Malley, Governor, Mayor, Commissioner. Thank Kevin, thank Freddie, A-Team, Robin, Rocky, folks. Thank you all. Keep on fighting peacefully. My name is Jeff Santos. Have a great weekend. I gotta go.